remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm X.
We remember Malcolm.
We remember Malcolm.
We remember Malcolm X.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm X.
We remember Malcolm. 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 We remember Malcolm.
This morning is February 21st, 1993. In 1965, on this Sunday, Malcolm X was killed in New York 28 years ago. This song is in memory of Brother Malcolm X.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm.
Malcolm X said that our struggle was a struggle for human rights, not civil rights. That we shouldn't take our struggle to the U.S. court system, that we should take our struggle to the world.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm.
Malcolm said that one of those human rights was the right to self-defense. Malcolm said that we should buy rifles to defend ourselves, and that if the federal government wouldn't pull the sheets off of the Ku Klux Klan, that we'd pull them off ourselves.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm.
Malcolm said, I'm not an American. I'm one of the 22 million African people that are the victims of Americanism. One of the 22 million people. Nothing but disguised hypocrisy. And I see America through the eyes of a victim. I don't see any American dream. I see an American nightmare.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm.
Malcolm said that a people without their history are like a tree without their roots. Malcolm said that of all of our studies, history will best reward us for our research.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm.
Malcolm said, don't let the white man speak for you, and don't let the white man fight for you.
We remember Malcolm. We remember Malcolm.
We declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, which we intend to bring into existence in this day, in this society, by any means necessary.
We remember Malcolm.
By any means necessary.
We remember Malcolm.
By any means
We
necessary.
remember Malcolm.
By any means necessary.
We remember Malcolm.
Grand Rising, Wose, Grand Rising. And thank you, Baba Jeff. Wose is a community of the sacred African way. The way is Ma'at, truth, justice, and righteousness. We believe in the teachings of our elders and our ancestors that the Creator God created the universe and all life and has placed in each of us a part of the divine spirit. God living in us and through us has given us the right and the power to establish peace and justice in all human life and true harmony with all creation. We believe in the living faith of our ancestors. Now, Baba Ustadi, all set? You're going to lead us in affirmation, right? With Mama Sugar D, right?
Correct.
Here we go.
Hotep family. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined.
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living models of the new directions of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God. Ashe.
Baba Jeff, you have music for us?
Now is the time, if you can hear, to heed the call, to make your choice for once and all. Now is the time, now and for all eternity, to seek the sacred reality. There's a choice to be made for all eternity. My truth and righteousness for you and me. Mott is the way. Mott is the spirit. Mott is the way to make the brighter day. If we'll just live it, there's a choice to be made for all eternity. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me. Mott is justice, righteousness and truth. Mott is the spirit of Amen Ra for me and you. The time has come, but we must make the change for truth. Our lives rearranged. Mott is the way. Mott is the spirit. Mott is the way to make the brighter day. If we'll just live it, there's a choice to be made for all eternity. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me. There's a choice to be made for all eternity. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me. Mott, truth and righteousness. Mott, truth and righteousness. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me. Mott, truth and righteousness. Mott, truth and righteousness. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me. There's a choice to be made for all eternity. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me. Mott, truth and righteousness for you and me.
Ashe. Thank you, Baba Jeff. And now's the time in our worship service for our historical tribute. It's important to keep at least 7 generations of our history in the minds of our people. We want to show the hand of God moving throughout the history of African people. Because we recognize that when our people were at their height, it was when they were closest to God. This morning, our historical tribute will be brought by our musician, our scholar, our founding minister, Minister Makalisi Oso Sawanda. Minister Makalisi, you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm in Rahatep.
Please continue.
Uncle John Sinet.
It's great to be in this place this morning, in this spirit, in this power of the Most High, moving in and through our lives. And just give thanks and praises, we'll say. And say, coming forward with the libation with the historical tribute to do as Minister Bill has said, to keep alive at least 7 generations of our ancestors, doing all they could in every way they could to make life more beautiful and beneficial for themselves, according to the spirit of the power of the Most High living in and through them, that would benefit them and lay a foundation for generations yet to come. And we are being challenged, we're being called, we're being blessed and empowered to do likewise here and now for generations yet to come. So this morning, I've been inspired to give some reflection on the life of Richard Allen. Richard Allen, and let me see how I can share my screen here. And bring well, I hope you can see that okay.
Looks good.
I see. Okay, Richard Allen. Richard Allen was born into slavery on February 14th, 1760, on a Delaware plantation. When he was 8 years old, Richard and his family were sold from that plantation to another plantation. And because of the financial problems of the owner of that second plantation, that plantation owner soon sold Richard's mother and 2 of his 5 siblings to yet another plantation. So Richard had an older brother and sister left with him. 3 of them began to attend meetings of the local Methodist society. And that society welcomed enslaved as well as free Black people. They were encouraged to do this. That is, Richard and his siblings were encouraged to do this by their current enslaver, although he himself was not converted. Richard taught himself, and he joined the Methodists at the age of 17. He began evangelizing immediately and attracted criticism from local slave owners who were angered by his actions. Well, a combination of circumstances, including Richard's evangelizing, led his enslaver to begin giving consideration to the thought that holding slaves was sinful. He was soon convinced that slavery was wrong and offered those he had enslaved an opportunity to buy their freedom. What? To buy their freedom? Well, with that news, Richard performed extra work to earn the money for that purpose and purchased his freedom at the age of 20 years old for $2,000 in 1780. $2,000, that's a lot of money now. 1780, it was, whew, can't begin to imagine. And at that time, he changed his name from Negro
Richard to Richard Allen. By cutting wood and laboring in a brickyard and by driving a wagon during the Revolutionary War. As a free African American, Richard Allen traveled through Delaware, through Maryland, through New Jersey and Pennsylvania, preaching to all people, regardless of race. Then at the age of 24, Allen was qualified as a preacher and admitted in December of 1784 at the famous Christmas conference, considered to be the first general conference of the Methodist Episcopal Church in North America. Allen was one of 2 Black attendees at the conference, but neither of them could vote during the deliberations that were taking place there in that conference. Allen became a preacher at St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church in Philadelphia, but he was restricted to the early morning services, 5 a.m., 5 o'clock in the morning. Black man, that's the time you can render what you have to our community. And so as Richard did this, he began to draw more Black participants, members, to the church service there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then the church administration ordered them to hold their gatherings in a separate area of worship, not in our regular sanctuary. You can go in another area of our facilities. And in that light, Allen regularly preached on the grounds of a park near the church, slowly gaining a congregation of nearly 50 folks and supporting himself with a variety of odd jobs. Allen and Absalom Jones, who was also a Methodist preacher, resented, understandably, the segregation of Blacks for worship service. And they decided to leave St. George's Church to create a self-relying worship place for African Americans in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, that action brought out some opposition from the white church, as well as from some of the more established Black people of the community who wanted merely to fit in, not stir up any hard feelings. So Allen and Jones led the Black members out of St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church and formed the Free African Society. Oh boy. I'm trying to move the pictures, but I can't, I don't know how. The Free African Society. It was a non-denominational mutual society that assisted fugitive enslaved people from the South and new migrants coming into the city of Philadelphia. The Free African Society provided social and economic guidance and medical care. It also helped newly liberated citizens establish their new sense of self-determination. While teaching thriftiness and how to save to build wealth, it became the model for banks in the African American community. So Allen, along with Absalom Jones and William Gray and William Wilshire, other Black ministers, found an available lot on 6th Street near Lombard Street in Philadelphia. Allen negotiated a price and purchased this lot in 1787 on which to build a church, but it was several years before they had a building. So they converted an abandoned blacksmith shop on that 6th Street lot. And the leaders opened the doors of Bethel AM Church, Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church, on July 29th, 1794. An anvil, like they use in blacksmith shop, an anvil was its in its pulpit, this anvil in their pulpit was their first lectern. At first, Bethel AME was affiliated. At first, Bethel AME was affiliated with the larger Methodist Episcopal Church, and the Philadelphia congregation had to rely on visiting white ministers to consecrate sacred elements in certain Sunday services, and you had to negotiate with the white oversight and deal with white elders of the predominantly white Methodist Episcopalian Church denomination.
It may help if you click on the page to get it to sequence properly and then do a page down.
Click on the page.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, over to the right, I hope you can see Mother Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Yes.
But anyway, along with Absalom Jones and the other ministers, they bought this property land, and they hauled this blacksmith shop, an abandoned blacksmith shop, and placed it on the land to serve as their first church. And in recognition, even though the brothers and the people were protesting and having a problem with the white folks having to come and guide them, supervise them on various issues, the white folks recognized the leadership and the preaching of Allen, and Allen was ordained as the first Black Methodist minister of the Methodist Episcopal Church in 1799. But he and the Mother Bethel congregation, that's what they call their church, the Mother Bethel Church. The Mother Bethel Church, they still had to continue to negotiate with the white oversight and deal with white elders from various decisions. And so they carried on. And a decade after its founding, the Bethel AME Church of Philadelphia had 457 members. And by 1813, its membership had risen amazingly to 1,272 members. Part of what we need to share is Richard Allen's married life. His first wife, we couldn't find a picture of her, but his first wife named Flora. They were married in October 19th, 1790, and she worked very closely with him during the early years of establishing the church from 1787 to 1799. They attended church, school, and worked together, purchasing land which eventually would be donated to the church or rented out to families. His first wife, Flora, died on March 11th, 1801, after a long illness. So after moving to Philadelphia, Allen married Sarah Bass, a freed slave from Virginia. And she had moved to Philadelphia as a child, and the couple met around 1800. And Richard and Sarah Allen had 6 children. Sarah Allen was highly active in what became the AME Church and is called the founding mother. So dealing with the birth of the AME church denomination. This wasn't an easy task. It wasn't just organizing and talking about it and getting it done. Allen and his associates, they had to go to court and argue. I guess the Methodist Episcopal Church was objecting and giving resistance to these Black folks having the ability to do this. So in April 1816, 22 years after organizing the Mother Bethel congregation, Reverend Allen called for a general conference meeting in Philadelphia and proposed the uniting of 5 African-American congregations that then existed in the eastern areas of the Methodist Episcopal Church in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland. Together, they founded the independent denomination of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the AME Church, the first fully independent Black denomination in the USA. On April 10th, 1816, the other ministers elected Allen as their first bishop, which he served in the episcopal office for 15 years until passing, giving it a total of 37 years that he was ministering to the Mother Bethel AME Church of Philadelphia. The African Methodist Episcopal Church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, is the oldest and largest formal institution in Black America. The African Methodist Episcopal Church was among the first denominations in the United States to be founded by and for Blacks hoping to escape the discrimination that was commonplace in society, rather than for theological distinctions. And it has persistently advocated the civil and human rights of African Americans through social improvement, religious autonomy, and political engagement, while always being open to people of all racial backgrounds. In 1830, understanding the power of an economic boycott, Richard Allen went on to form the Free Produce Society, where members would only purchase products from non-enslaved labor. And the social themes, the themes of Bishop Allen's preachings were always about abolition and colonization, about education and temperance. His preaching style, reportedly, was almost never expository, never written to be read, but delivered in an evangelical and penetrating manner that inspired action rather than meditation. His tone was personal and persuasive. From 1797 until his death in 1831, Bishop Allen and his wife, Sarah, operated an underground railroad station in the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, for fugitive enslaved people fleeing from enslavement in the states of Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, with the basement of the Bethel Church serving as a stop on the Underground Railroad. So we can see over here, I was impressed. I'd never seen this symbol before, the African Methodist Episcopal, the red, black, and green. Certainly our colors, I think, is even before, well, they probably didn't adopt these colors until after Garvey came around. But the African Methodist Episcopal Church, among the first denominations in the United States to be founded by and for Blacks hoping to escape from the discrimination that was commonplace in society, rather than for theological distinctions, and has persistently advocated for the civil and human rights of African Americans through social improvement, religious autonomy, and political engagement, always being open to people of all races. So I want to share this video if I can do it rightly. I should have been in the meeting yesterday and got some directions about it. It's a very short one. Seems like it's coming up.
Mr. Makalisi, you may have to drop back and make sure those sound buttons are on. There are two buttons on the share screen that allow the sound to be shared when you first open the share screen.
Okay. So I need to go back.
Yes, drop the share and restart it,
Okay.
and you'll see two buttons at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
With Allen as its when the Civil War freed millions of slaves,
Is
it
that coming
also
through?
freed slaves from having to
Yes, the
work
sound's coming
in
through.
white congregations or in secret. But even before emancipation, many slave preachers established their own independent congregations. Among these men were Richard Allen and Absalom Jones, who established the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Allen led a small group of Christians who wanted to leave St. George's Church, but did not want to affiliate with the Protestant Episcopal Church. In 1794, Bethel AME was dedicated in Philadelphia with Allen as its pastor. Allen had been a slave in Delaware, and to keep white Methodists from interfering with his church, he sued in 1807 and 1815 and won the right of his congregation to exist as an independent institution. The church didn't really begin to grow until the Civil War and Reconstruction, when its numbers swelled to more than 400,000. Today, the African Methodist Episcopal Church has membership in 20 Episcopal districts in 39 countries on 5 continents. I'm Monica Pearson with This Week in Black History.
So we want to give thanks and praises to the Most High for Richard Allen, for Absalom Jones, for Richard Allen's wives who worked with him, Sister Flora and Sarah, and for all the others who worked with him to bring the African Methodist Episcopal Church into being, to protect and the rights and the self-determination of our people throughout this country, throughout the world for that matter. So I want to pour libation for Richard Allen, for his wife Flora and Sarah, for Absalom Jones, and for all others who worked with them to bring forth this independent African denomination of truth, justice, righteousness to protect the self-determination and liberation of our people throughout this world. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you. Captain Sama.
That's exactly what we need to clarify, just what a struggle it's been and how mighty our people have been in that struggle. The man had to sue in court just to hold church services, but he did. And he brought forward with his people the AME denomination. Now, today, our sister Michelle is going to join me in our litany of sacrifice. Sister Michelle, ready to go?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Great.
The song.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Baba Jab. I'm skipping ahead. Thank you.
That's how I know. Something beautiful's gonna happen to me. I can feel it.
She,
Ashe.
beautiful.
Thank you, Baba Jeff. Of course, we need to remember what it is we're fighting for, exactly for that beauty.
She.
Yes. Sister Michelle. We'll start in on our litany. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, we bring our sacrifices to you. We praise your name, O Amun-Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kujichagulia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people,
and in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Ashe. As you see posted, if you would like to donate today to Wose Community Church, you can donate to the Oakland Church, and you can see their website you can go to or mail to them. And then also Wose Sacramento's website, which is now www.wosesac.org. So hopefully we'll get that fixed on this piece soon. And also the mailing address to the Sacramento Church if you would like to mail a donation in. Thank you. If we could bow our head for a moment in prayer. O Mother, Father God, she who is of the Most High, the maker of all that is and shall be, the giver of all our needs, the knower of what is beyond truth. We have just said our litany of sacrifice and repeated the values we hold most high. For to repeat those words, we pledge our faith to you, O Amun-Ra. We pledge our faith to Wose. We pledge our faith before our brothers and sisters and to anyone within the sound of our voices. We are proud to be the community of the Sacred African Way, and we support our way with more than just words. We act and give to better bind our relationships to God, to Amun-Ra, to support our brethren, to support our church. And we know that it is not always easy to give, but actions that are worthy and meant to be will bring out our creative thoughts, will cause us to critically think, will push us into unknown waters so that along with our discovery, we can name our resources and our new realizations within us will cause us to grow and increase the ways that we give. Sometimes giving allows us to be wiser people. because of the process that it took for us to be able to give money to another, to give money to our church, to give money to support our brothers and sisters. So thank you. Thank you for those who today are giving, those who will give in the coming tomorrows, and thank you to those who are still in the process of figuring out how they can give. Amun-Ra, I ask that you make us all open to seek those quiet times where we may mull over the ideas and ways to give and support our church. Help us to tighten our fortress. Help us to collect all that we have and build that spiritual ladder of faith and build those physical walls for Wosei Community Church. Amen. Ashe. Amun-Ra.
Ashe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Michelle. And now our esteemed scholar, our minister from Sacramento, Minister Alicia Teasley. Please step forward with our message. Minister Alicia.
Greetings, everyone. I'm here. And when you said esteemed scholar, I was like, oh, I thought I was up today. I was like, well, maybe it's someone else. That's funny. But okay, so greetings to everyone. Amun-Ra Hetep. I'm so thankful to be here today to see all your beautiful African faces. Look how gorgeous you are. I'm looking on my screen. I'm so thankful. So today, I just first want to tell you how I came across this message because it was quite interesting. Oh, I thought it was interesting. So the whole time I had two important things that I thought that I was going to say. And I said, okay, which one should I bring forward? And so I kept trying to, kept trying to put everything together, tie things together, and stuff just wasn't coming together. And I was like, man, Most High, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know why the stuff isn't coming together. Usually, it's not that way, And so I said, well, I'm gonna talk about, Aset. That's it. So I settled on this. This is in my mind. I'm thinking, so I began to look up things about Aset, and Most High was like, no, that's not it. And not today, right? So then I was, I kept going, and I was like, well, let me stop, Most High. What would you like for me to say? And what's funny is I have been talking about Ma'at and love for so long. And so I felt as though in my intellect that it was, hey, I'm gonna, choose another topic. But Most High was like, no. We are talking about Ma'at and love. And I was like, again, Most High? Again. So Most High. So this is like a back and forth. You guys, when you have a relationship with God, it's not always, sometimes it's conversations, like real conversation, like Most High, seriously, like we've talked about this like 4 times. There's other topics I would like to address. There's things going on in society. There's things going on, Ma'at and love. Okay. So there was no getting around it. And it was so funny how everything came together, because all the little pieces that I was thinking about highlighting, Most High, after I took myself out of the picture, Most High brought everything together into one. And so I was like, there you go, Most High, there you go. So, that's just something that I just wanted to share, because I thought it was kind of hilarious how things just kind of, work together and they clink themselves in and put themselves together. And so I love that. And so if we pay attention, Most High does that quite a lot. So, and how he was able to get me to open my eyes with that is that I was looking through I was looking through the Medi Netter, Volume 4, and I said, I wonder what the cycle is, because the Medi Netter, Volume 4, this book, if you have it, the Medi Netter, Volume 4, it gives like the times and seasons for different netters, right? For the Neteru. And so I went through and I said, I wonder what today would be, May the 21st. So lo and behold, May 21st is the start of Ma'at season. So that helped me to like synchronize all the things. So let me get on with it. But I'm just like so happy to be here and so happy about this message. But I just wanted to share that part with you all. Okay, so we are looking at still in legacy today. We are in chapter 3. The Greek philosophy was the offspring of the Egyptian mystery system. So that's chapter 3, because I know a lot of people have different page numbers depending on the book that you have. But for me, in my version, the page number is 27. So since I cannot see, I'm gonna put my glasses on real quick. Thank you. Okay, so it says the earliest theory of salvation is the Egyptian theory. The Egyptian mystery system had at its most important object the deification of man, and sought that the soul of man, if liberated from its bodily fetters, could enable him to become godlike and see the gods in this life and attain beatific vision and hold communion with the immortals. Ashe. So when I was looking at this passage that we've looked at a few times, I looked at it, and every single time I have to look up the word beatific. And so I'm looking up the word beatific, and I'm saying, it's saying blissfully happy, imparting holy bliss. It's meaning being blessed. So you're looking at it saying the deification of man. It's enabling him to become godlike and see the gods in this life and attain the beatific vision. This blissful vision, this happy vision is imparting the holy bliss. This is what you're obtaining. It's a seeing of the Most High. When your soul gazes upon God, when the veil is being removed, it's like when beauty draws you in and it compels you to want to be like it. This is the beatific vision. And holding communion with the immortals. And communion is sharing. Communion is sharing or exchanging of intimate thoughts and feelings, especially when the exchange is on a mental or spiritual level. So you're holding communion with the immortals. So this is the talk of salvation. So, brothers and sisters, it is of the utmost importance that we master love. We want to be able to master love. Here in the United States, it is competition over cooperation. That's how they run things here. But in our African knowledge, in our African societies, we are about cooperation. That part is us. If you guys all remember the Ubuntu story, Ubuntu being I am because we are, of how an anthropologist came to an African village and had a basket full of fruit. And in his Western ideology of competition, he went and put the basket of fruit by a tree. And he went to the children and he said, whoever can make it to that tree first can have all of those fruits, the bounty, the harvest, all the juicy, delicious apples and oranges or whatever he put that was so delectable in that basket. You can have all of it. Whoever is the first person who reaches that basket. So all the children, in their African wisdom, held hands and they all ran towards the basket together. They did not leave someone behind. They did not elbow someone or trip them in order that they could make it to the basket first. They all held hands together and made it to the basket. Once they made it to the basket, they delivered the fruits, the bounty of the harvest. Each one had something, and they sat around in their circle and they laughed and played and enjoyed the delicious fruit of the harvest. This is our way, brothers and sisters. This is our way of thinking and understanding that we can't get here alone. It's the interdependence that Ma'at has given us, that knowledge within that Ma'at has given us through love, saying that I'm not an island all unto myself. This can't be just about me. I can't be happy over here eating this fruit while all the rest of my friends are sad. That's not the way of the Western society. And because that's not the way of the Western society has degraded everything that it touched. And so we are in the midst of, we are growing to be able to bring back our ideology within ourselves and then spreading it within the world. That was in Ubuntu. I am because we are. Ra Nefer Amen says that all life and things are one, and love is the force that binds all, the supreme force in the universe. I want to read, I want to read a little bit of Ra Nefer Amen when he talks about the definition of giving and seeking nothing in return, because that's his definition of love. That's what he puts out as his definition of love: giving and seeking nothing in return. He says, were I to give to you seeking something in return, you would conclude that my action was not a selfless action. It was not an act of love. If instead I gave seeking nothing in return, you would be grateful for my show of love towards you. But that will not be enough to arouse love within you, as the good feeling that you have is about what you have received, which does not qualify it as having love for someone. It's about you. Once you arouse your person to reciprocate out of your unselfish interest of doing something for me, or in the same spirit for another, if you cannot give to me, now the feeling qualifies as love. That he's talking about reciprocity. He's talking about giving and receiving. He also said, if you cannot give that to me, you would give it to another. It is important that you master these teachings, as love is the most powerful force you must be feeling daily for the most part of the day. The moment that love is felt, then and there healing is taking place within you, and the conditions for wealth and social prosperity is being laid and worked for manifestation on the physical plane. Love has power when it is in Ma'at reciprocity, giving, seeking nothing in return. Because all of us at some point has probably either been in a situation where there was unrequited love. Unrequited love is like your love interest doesn't seem interested in pursuing and progressing the relationship. They are slow to reply when you invite them to do something, you text or you call. So we want to give these thoughts to ourselves and how we relate to the Most High. Is that an unrequited love? Do you not seem interested in progressing the relationship between you and the Most High? The Most High is ever after you. The Most High is ever looking towards you. The Most High is ever offering love to you. Are we slow to reply? Are we slow to reply to the invitations when he calls? When he calls to us, are we like, oh, I've got something else to do, or oh, I'm gonna go and read the story, and then I'll go and do whatever it is that you have me do. I tell my children, I said, slow obedience is still disobedience. It's slow. You're taking your time. You're doing it whenever you want. It's still disobedience. I'm asking you to take the trash out now. So you're turning your back and walking away and finishing watching your show and doing all of this, and I'll make myself a sandwich. And then later on tonight, if I remember, I'll go take the trash out like mom said. That's right. It's the same thing we do to the Most High though sometimes, brothers and sisters. Most High will call us to speak to someone and we'll say, I was planning on going to the store, and then I was planning on doing A, B, C, and D, and then maybe I'll call them tonight if I remember. Or Most High is calling us to be in relationship or communion with him, calling us to pray. And we say, oh, I forgot, I still had to, wash these dishes, and my clothes are getting ready to come out the dryer, and I will make sure that, I pray tonight if I remember before I go to sleep. Slow obedience is still disobedience. When you are awakening and cultivating love for God, cultivating is trying to acquire or develop a quality, sentiment, or skill. Cultivating is fostering the growth of. When you are awakening and cultivating love for God, you are striving to become the vessel of God in this world. You are living the foundation of your divinity. You're living Ma'at. Whatever your livelihood, whatever it is you do, you are our first and foremost thought process within that sector of society, or within whatever it is you do, is to assist as many people as you can to realize their divinity. That's our utmost priority. When God lives through you, the success is holistic. When God is living through you, like I could be a successful speaker in one place or another. Like in my example earlier, I could have pursued my thought process and said, this is what I'm going to talk about, and it probably would have been fine. But being able to say, this is what Most High wants for us. Being able to let go of staunch control over what it is I say, what it is I do, and allow God to take that throne and Most High to say those words, that is of utmost importance, and the success will be holistic. When you are actively working on love relationship with God and creation, this is your reciprocal love work or your love action. We all say that love is a verb. Love is action. Love is work. And remember, we talked about how the Commissions, their symbol for love is the hoe, the axe, the working, a working tool. And we all know, if we've been in relationship and love relationship, we all understand that is work. It's not just the butterflies that we feel at the beginning. It's not just when everything is going good, I'm gonna love you. It's not just that. It's the looking out for the other person. It's my back hurts, your back hurts, I'm gonna massage you, you massage me, so we could both feel better. It's if you take the children, I'm gonna cook the dinner. It's all of these things meshed together to work together for the good. It's sometimes sacrifice. It's sometimes difficult. It's sometimes hard. It's sometimes like asking questions like, why am I trying to do all this good stuff, but all these weird, bad things are happening? All these things are going on. These people are against me. These people are talking about me. My car hit a pole. Like, all kinds of things can happen. And we can say, what are these things happening for? I want to be able to reciprocate the love, but what is going on? But we all know in our relationships, when things go wrong and we work together on a higher level, our relationship is stronger. We have learned things. Our character is better. We can move forward in saying, we've got through this. We can get through anything. To love like God loves us is to see each other in the best light possible. Give people the benefit of the doubt, understanding that we are all beings evolving towards divinity. We're just in different stages, depending on the work that we put in. So our chronological ages here on this realm, on this earth, means nothing to what our spiritual ages are. It has to do with the work that's put in. It has to do with the time that's spent. It has to do with your aim. Are you having a worthwhile aim? Are you aiming yourself to be one with the Most High? Or are you always at the wheel? Are you always taking control? Are you always saying, maybe later, Most High, right before I go to sleep, Most High? We want to look at the Neter Tehuti. Tehuti is the part of the Spirit, a principle of God that reveals the divine law and truth. Ma'at, part of the Spirit, is where that truth resides. It's where that truth lives. So Tehuti will give us the letter of the law. But in Ma'at, you must live that letter. That's that embodiment. That's why it says, to know truth, you have to live truth. To know Ma'at, you must do Ma'at. So we have to revive our understanding of our purpose here on earth. Our purpose here on earth is not to attain money. It's not to drive the best car. It's not to have the biggest house with nobody in it and can't afford the furniture to go in it. Can't clean it up because it's too big. Can't do anything with it, but just say that I have the biggest house on the block. That's not our purpose here on earth. Most High created us in order to experience what this world is feeling like. The different things that are going on within the body. That's why the world was created, first for the Most High, then for us. But they will have us think that the world was created just for man to go along and subdue everything in it, to attack everything, to control everything. That's what they will have our minds think. But if you are not actively pursuing a relationship with the Most High, if you are realizing that you are in an unrequited love situation with God, if you have been living in competition and not cooperation, examine what your feelings are about that. Are you okay with that? Are you like, what are your feelings around that? So we want to take a look real quickly at the sorrows of a Set. The sorrows of a Set, we want to talk about briefly. Now, in the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru, the Asarian drama, Asar was killed by his brother Set. And Aset, being his wife, when she heard the news, I'm gonna read this part. When the bad news regarding Asar's fate was taken to Aset, she was stricken with great sorrow. She wept bitterly and could not be consoled. In her grief, she cut off a lock of her hair, put on mourning clothes, and vowed to never rest until she found the body of her beloved king and husband. Now here we want to understand Aset is the characteristic, the netter of devotion. She was devoted to her husband. She was devoted to restoring him to his rightful place. Now, Asar in this story is our indwelling intelligence. And so she was sorrowful that Asar's position, he was not sitting on his throne. So when we're saying we're not actively pursuing a relationship with the Most High is coming after us, but we are putting the Most High off. That is killing Asar and breaking him up into pieces, taking him off his throne. Asar will always be there, but what is the position? So then Aset was sorrowful to the point where she vowed to never rest until she found the body of her beloved king and husband. She was stricken with grief over the fact that the indwelling intelligence was not on the throne. With grief to the point where there was no rest until she was able to restore what had been lost. She was the devotion to restoration of the Most High to the throne of our lives. See, when we read these stories, our ancestors, every time I read a story that our ancestors have written, there are so many levels. There are so many levels to each story. So we never want to take any story that we hear as this is just it. Just what we're reading is just it. How we just get it is just it. These stories are deeper than, oh, there was this character and she was sad because her husband, no, the character represents something. Her husband represented the indwelling intelligence. The murdering of Asar represented the fact that a lot of times in our life, we don't have Asar on the throne. We don't have the indwelling intelligence guiding our daily life, guiding the things that we do, guiding what it is that we're thinking. And so Aset's devotion, she was showing us devotion to restoring that. Sorrow over anything that stands in the way of achieving a level of divinity that allows God his rightful place in your life and ability to come through you to experience the world. That's what she was sad about. That's what she was grief-stricken about. Anything that comes in between you and the relationship with the Most High. That was her grief. So we have to have an understanding of self. Have you heard the term getting into God's program? Getting onto God's program? Ra Nefer Amen explains in Metanetter Volume 2, the program aims at establishing man in the likeness of God. And we talked about that when we talked about the earliest theory of salvation. This is the whole point. These are the points. These are the main points of us being here. Aims at establishing man in the likeness of God. Remember the earliest theory of salvation. Remember the thought of let us make man in our image and likeness. We are meant to be in the likeness of God. We are, the whole goal and aim is for us to be reunited with the Most High. Man is given a physical body with things that work automatically. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to time our own heartbeat. We don't have to aid our digestion. Like when we eat the food, it goes down, it does what it's supposed to do. That stuff is on autopilot. When your heart beating, your lungs going in and out, that stuff's on autopilot. Most High has given that to each and every living person. We don't have to think about it. This is the lowest level of being, the animal spirit or the kabit, the way, the movement, the animation of the body. The spirit is then programmed through the intellect. That's programmed through memorization and receptivity to all things experienced and the imagination, images, emotion. This is how the spirit is programmed. Things are things used to entertain in trance, like the things that we entertain in trance in our spiritual sleep. A lot of people are walking around spiritually asleep, and they ingest things as they're walking around spiritually asleep. These things program our spirit. The program used is recorded in the Ma'at part of our being. The changing of programs happen throughout the stages of life, because what you believed when you were little is different than what your understanding of that thing is now. If anybody believed in Santa Claus when they were little, or the Easter Bunny, you know, our belief and our knowledge of that thing right now is different than it was then. And something had to make that change happen. Okay, it wasn't just now I'm grown, so automatically I don't believe in the Easter Bunny. It was a change. Something as we were living happened. Either you got some information, either like if you believed in the tooth fairy, maybe one day you opened your eyes and you saw your dad putting money underneath your pillow instead of the tooth fairy. And you said, oh no, wait, is the tooth fairy really real? Because you're putting the money under there and there's no fairy. Different things like that as you are living helps you to change from one thought process to knowledge of a different process, a greater process, more towards the truth. These different things that we experience from the outside, they inform our bodies, and the spirit becomes programmed. The changing of the program, like I said, happens throughout stages in life. The agent of change is force, and that spiritual force is Heru Kahuti. I call Heru Kahuti Ma'at, or death, because Heru Kahuti is the enforcement of the divine law. And so on the tree of life, Heru Kahuti is in the middle. This is the cutoff. He's like, either you is or you ain't. Either you's gonna do this or you not. Either you are going to ascend or you are going to be stuck. Either you are going to follow Ma'at or you're going to follow the other path. So go, do what it is that you're supposed to do. Make your choice. This is the cutoff right here. There, at that point with Heru Kahuti, there is no sitting on the fence. You have to make a decision at that point. It's force. So like I said, with the example of the tooth fairy, all along you're believing of the tooth fairy and you're waiting for your little dollar or your little change or whatever your parents give you. And you open your eyes one day because maybe that day your father was trying to slip it under your pillow and maybe accidentally hit your nose or something. You open your eyes and you see this happening. You can make a choice at that moment. You can choose to say, hey, maybe there's no tooth fairy because my dad is here. My tooth is gone and there's a dollar underneath my pillow. Or you continue to stay asleep and pretend that there is a tooth fairy. These are the choices that we make that Heru Kahuti puts in our life. The programmer, the one who programs, is the will, Heru. Heru is the symbol of the will, man's will. This is the part of our being that is free. So when they say free will, that is embodiment of Heru. Heru is guided by wisdom and divine law. If we remember the Asarian drama, Heru at first tried to defeat Set of his own volition. He went and he was like, I have an army. We're going to go fight. We're going to go do this. We're going to take Set down. But it was not until he yielded and humbled himself and asked for guidance, for wisdom from Tahuti, that he was able to actually defeat Set. So this is the part of our being that when humble and guided by Tahuti or wisdom and divine law, we share we share at that time within the higher and the lower parts of our being, and we're able to have the higher part of our being control the lower part of our being. Which brings me back to ideas of being careful of your portals. We used to sing a song a long time ago, and I don't know if anybody remembers because it was a long time ago and it wasn't at Will Say. It was probably at your old Christian church from your grandma or your mother, way back in the day in little Sunday school. And if not, I guess I'm the only one, but we used to sing a song called "Be Careful Little Eyes What You See. Be careful little eyes what you see. For the dear Lord above is looking down on us. So be careful little eyes what you see." And we would go from the eyes to the ears to the mouth. Be careful what you speak. We would go to the hands. Be careful what you do. We would go to the feet. Be careful where you go. Little did we know, being little kids, that you know what? Those things are important. We are talking about discriminating against the programming that's coming to our spirit. If I'm being careful about the things that I'm seeing, I'm not allowing myself to sit there and watch degradation on television. If I'm being careful of the portals of my ears, and why I say portals is because it's a wide opening to a lot of spiritual activity. Our eyes are wide open to a lot of spiritual activity. So what we allow ourselves to see, what we allow ourselves to listen to, it's a portal to spiritual activity. So back in the day when they're telling us to be careful, they really meant be careful. And that's a spiritual discernment tool that we need to be using. Be careful of the music that we're listening to. It's not all good. It's not all just I'm listening to the beat, because that used to be my thing about when I tell my mom, I'm not listening to the words, Mom, I'm just listening to the beat. The beat is good. And the beat could be nice. The beat could be jamming. But those words get in your spirit. Because how do you not listen to the words and then 30 years later, when that song comes on, you know every single word? How? How when you're not listening? How? So, of course, the beat is jamming. Yes, it's supposed to be like that. You know, demons, devils, all that negative stuff doesn't give you stuff you don't like. What would be the point? There's no temptation with stuff that you don't like. Like, okay, me, I don't really like lemon cake. I like cake, but I don't like lemon cake. So you can't tempt me with lemon cake because I'm just not going to eat it. I'm going to be like, no, I'm good. Thank you. But if you put Sister Karen's apple cake in front of my face, that's a temptation because I like it. I'm going to be like, yes, I need that. And many of you like lemon cake. Okay, AJ, my daughters love lemon cake too. I just don't. It's just me. But it's openings of portals that we have to be careful. Okay, be careful, little hands, what you do. The things that we put our hands to, we got to be careful of working iniquity. Be careful, little feet, where you go. Don't be going everywhere. Everywhere ain't meant for you to be there. You know, it talks in 2000 Seasons about people rushing deathward. People are using their feet to rush deathward. I got to go to the liquor store. Let me go to the smoke shop. Let me go here. Let me go there. You're rushing deathward. You know that stuff is not good for you, and you're rushing to get there. So our spirit housed in this vessel called a body is programmed through different things. The spirit is programmed through the intellect, memorization, and images. The things that we're seeing is programming our spirit. Those the things that we that we take in and memorize. The songs that we memorize, the things that we memorize is taking it and programming our spirit. The seeing of the eyes and the hearing of the ears, those are communicated to the heart and mind and cause all perceptions to come forth. They say that in the Hosea. It's in the beginning. It's very important. So be careful what you open your portals to. And the programmer being the will. I chose to turn that song on over and over again. It is our will that does that. It's one thing if we're riding in a car and the car next to us is playing a song. We don't have any control over that. But our will to turn our radio station to the same song to the radio station they have on, that's our will doing that. I chose to drink this alcohol, or I chose to eat that third piece of cake. These things that occupy our attention, because part of our spirit that is free to choose unrequited love is watching. So if you're thinking about this is what I'm saying. The things that we rest our eyes on continuously, the things that we rest our ears on continuously. So it's our will as the programmer to program our spirits towards relationship with the Most High or towards degradation. What are we programming our spirit toward? Are we programming our spirit towards being black on powerful on the outside, but on the inside, we're running the same program as the United States of America? Are we all trying to be in competition with each other and not following along with our thought process of Ubuntu? If we are watching and experiencing and putting our hands to and walking into abomination over and over again, and we're not spending time cultivating our relationship with the Most High and his people, these things that are programmed are recorded in the sphere of Ma'at. So you're putting all these things in, and it's being recorded as truth. It's being recorded in your understanding of justice. It's being recorded in your understanding of reciprocity or lack thereof. It's being recorded in the realm of harmony, order, and balance and propriety. All of the things are being recorded either positively or negatively. It's being recorded in the sphere of Ma'at. So this is where you draw from. Have you ever met somebody that had a weird sense of justice? Have you ever met somebody that didn't know how to tell the truth to save their life, but they thought it was okay? And this is through the wrong kinds of programming. And all of these things react within the body. You see how the Most High has everything interconnected. And for us to understand and manifest the interconnectedness is love. Because all of this comes full circle and reacts within the body. It manifests in the physical with our lungs. It manifests within the heart. It manifests within the spleen. Have you ever met somebody whose hair falls out because they're so stressed out? Stress is not understanding part of the Neteru. One of the laws of the Neteru is that there's nothing against you. The problems and situations that you have within your life are there to help you grow. They're there to help you choose the right thing to do. So when we're looking at situations that are programmed within us to be stressful, we have cultivated peace instead in the place of it, because we understand and have full knowledge that these things are not against us. These things are to help us to grow spiritually. So when we're putting that into perspective, when we're programming those things within our minds and our bodies and our spirit, we are programming a character and programming a spirit that's closer to the Most High. Have you ever heard somebody be upset at the Most High and the Most High say, "Oh, I can't believe you said that. What? okay, I'm gonna smite you just because, right? That's not what usually happens. You know, it's, we don't need to come up off our square. We need to cultivate peace. And if you're stressful to the point where your hair is falling out, you're not cultivating peace. And you're not understanding the law of Ma'at that says that there's nothing against you. In this world, for you to cultivate love, for you to cultivate peace, you have to have tests and you have to have trials in order to do so. That's how your love is generated. That's how peace is generated. That's how our ancestors and our elders used to say, the peace that passes all understanding. That's God's peace that passes all understanding. Ancestors could tell you how you were loving God or not loving God through the condition of your organs. When they placed in the canoptic jars, the lungs, the liver, the intestines, the stomach, those things were protected by the sons of Heru. Remember, Heru is the will. And the sons of Heru, Happy, protected the lungs. And Seti protected the liver. Dwamutef protected the stomach. And I have a hard time saying this one. Kebe Senuef. That one was so hard. I was practicing all morning. It's not working.
Kebsameb.
Thank you. They was the protector. That son was the protector of the intestines. So you're talking about the will. The sons of the will was protecting our organs, our bodily organs, our insides. So when we passed on and transitioned, we could look to the outward people as though we had it all together. But the ones who was taking those organs out, they were able to see the truth because of the condition of your liver, because of the condition of your lungs. And it was the will that was the protector of it. What did this person choose to do? What was in their wheelhouse to do? Sadness and grief is the emotions of the lungs. Anger and resentment is the emotions of the liver. And how do we talk? We say, I will be free from resentment and the experience of wrongdoing. I will be free from resentment and the spirits of persecution. And in those two things, I say things that are intended to be against you and things that are against you, but there are unintended. That's how I translate those two things. So if you have anger that turns into resentment, you're going to damage your liver. So you're talking about not being able to bring in and program your spirit under the laws of Ma'at. If you're not doing that, you're going to inhabit anger. And you can hold on to the anger. If you're busy putting those angry things inside your body, it feels like this feels like this is the response to this person hitting my car. I'm supposed to be angry. That is the programming. And you can keep that anger or you can let it go. Which one are you going to do? Because if you keep it, it's going to turn into resentment and that is going to damage your liver. It damages the body. I'm going to tell you a quick story about that. I hit a car. It was not recently, but it was a while ago. Brother Joe Browning. I was coming to church and I don't know what was happening. I think I was distracted, whatever it was. And I was getting ready to park. His car was parked. I was coming in and I misjudged not which way, but I misjudged how close the car was. And I sideswiped his car. I go in the church feeling like, oh my goodness, whoever this car is, I didn't know whose car it was. Whoever car this is going to be so upset at me. Oh my gosh, they're going to be so mad. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so nervous to even find out who it was because I was thinking that person was going to be so mad because I wrecked I didn't wreck the car, but I messed it up. So I went into church, and then I was asking around. I said, do you have a whatever car it was? They was like, no, I don't have a car. And I was like, okay. And I asked the next question, do you have this kind of car? They're like, no. And I asked Brother Joe Browning. Joe Browning is passed on at the moment, but I asked Brother Joe, I said, do you have this type of car? He was like, yeah, that's my car. And I said, oh, brother, okay, okay. So I kind of hit your car outside while I was trying to park. And you know what his response was? He laughed. He cracked up. I was so nervous. And through the whole entire time, like, he was so, like, genuinely okay with everything that happened. From the time that he found out that I hit it, from the time that he actually saw it, because that's two different emotions, from the time that, you know, we had to deal with the insurance and all those things. He was very just okay. I never felt any anger or resentment or hostility. Oh my God, you hit my car. Why? What were you doing? What were you thinking? How could you? Look at my car now. I have to go through all this stuff because of you. But he just laughed. He said, oh, I have been through that before. I understand. And that blew my mind and changed my perspective. Changed my perspective 100%. And these are the things that the Most High is trying to get to us. Changing of perspective into being more God-like, and how it changes other people when you encounter them in difficulties and in happy festivities. So when you love God and you have the desire and will and emotion to become one with God, to incorporate the essence of the Neteru within, to put Asar, the indwelling intelligence, back on the throne, your success in life is holistic. It may not look like the European version of what success looks like. We have to train our eyes and our minds and our thoughts for it to look like what God's view of success would look like. What is God's view of success for your life? Holistically, from the bottom to the top. Because Most High is already given to us and continues to give to us. So we live in that abundance. So how could we not love? So we must love each other in cooperation. We have to learn how to be masters of love. And I'm going to read to you again in Stolen Legacy. All you masters of love. The earliest theory of salvation is the Egyptian theory. This is our ancestors. The Egyptian mystery system had at its most important object the deification of man, and taught that the soul of man, if liberated from its bodily fetters, if liberated from that anger, if liberated from that fear, if liberated from that anxiousness, anxiety, if liberated from all of those things, could enable him to be godlike and see the gods in this life and attain the beatific vision. Remember, that's the lifting of the veil. That's the vision when you remove the veil. It's the being able to see the God in each other, even though somebody may be acting up. Being able to see the Most High before you. It's like one of the reasons why our ancestors chose the sun. Why did they not choose the stars? Why did they not choose the moon? If you're looking up in the sky, you would see that the sun is the brightest star. It takes away it shines brighter than all the stars up there, to the fact that we can't even see the other stars. It warms everyone. No matter what you did last night that you feel somewhat about, no matter what you drank, no matter what you ate, no matter what you did, the love of the sun, the warmth of the sun touches all in its time without discrimination. to see the gods in this life and attain the beatific vision and hold communion with the immortals, the ones that would never die, these ones that we keep calling their names, the ones that are not going anywhere because their stories and their influence upon our lives. We're communing with them. We're sharing with them. That's the beautiful portion. That's the theory of salvation that our ancestors had. So brothers and sisters, masters of love, masters of Ma'at, knowing that Ma'at is love. We want to be the masters. Amen. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes, indeed.
And Minister Alicia, bring that high knowledge. Bring it right down to our real experience, where we can see it and feel it and know that spirit. Thank you, Minister Alicia.
Great job, Minister Alicia.
Yes.
Mr. Malley, you have a word for us? Minister Malley?
I'm trying to, yeah. Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
All right. Perhaps you heard, or perhaps you felt in the message that something that touched you. I know that as I hear the words of Minister Alicia, I get moved to consider what is my relationship, not only in my own individual life, but also with the high, with Most High, with the divine. There are people who may be listening that are wondering, how can I improve my relationship with the Most High? You can't do it alone. As Minister Alicia said, this is not something that was intended to be a solo act. And in order to reprogram ourselves away from the influence of Western European perversion, we need to have a different perspective. So there may be someone here, someone who has been listening, that wants a different perspective. They would like to be aided in that process of being reprogrammed in a manner that will make their lives more meaningful and more in line with the Most High. If you would like to join this community where we are all working together, learning together, this is your time. You can raise your hand, you can signal in the chat room, whatever it is that will allow us to become aware that you would like to join this community. Ashe?
Ashe.
So if not, I turn the service back over to you, Minister Bill.
Thank you. I believe Baba Jeff has an anthem for us. Baba Jeff?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies resound the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. March on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, through the chastening rock, felt in the days when hope unborn has died, yet with a steady beat and not our weary feet come to the place from which our fathers died. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughter, out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk of the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand. True to our God, true to our God, true to our native land, true to our native
Woo! Wow.
So as we are brought together as one people,
One people,
one community,
one community,
one faith,
one faith,
One faith,
with one love,
one
one
love,
love,
with one love,
one
one
love,
love,
with one love,
one
one
love.
love,
we are indeed the most beautiful,
one God.
awesome
Awesome.
people
People
on the
on the
planet
face of this
of
earth.
earth and the face of creation. Let us not forget that and hold on to one another as even as we depart this service, but yet remain united with one another. Ashe,
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ra,
Ashe,
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 Now, I was also
Ashe.
informed by Alaman Haley that the closed spiritual or sacred coming togethers, there's a word that was being said, and I couldn't fully read it, but it looked like it was Kemet, Kamal, something of that sort. And
The word
so,
was katim, Minister Malley.
Tim, there we go. And so to honor that great word, let us also depart and close and thank all those that we invited in the beginning of service at libation with Katim.
Tim, Katim.
Katim.
Allow me to be a fortress and foundation of your Holy Spirit, Holy One. Katim.
Katim.
Thank you, Minister Malley. Before we go our separate ways, we should know, are there announcements?